Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Smart TCG, and today I'm going to be going over Gardevoir EX in the post-rotation format. Now, Gardevoir EX did lose quite a bit of important cards from rotation, most notably cards like Level Ball, Shining Arcana Gardevoir, and Zacian V. However, the deck just needs to be built differently in the post-rotation format, and I still think is one of the most powerful decks in the standard format. Today, we're going to be going over the deck list, and then we're going to hop into a game against one of the most powerful top-tier decks in the standard format, showing off just exactly how powerful this deck still is. But Gardevoir EX has that incredible Psychic Embrace ability, allowing you to put Psychic Energies from your discard pile onto your Pokemon with only negative effect of having to damage yourself, but in this deck that's actually a positive, as many of our attackers actually do more damage for the more damage counters on them, so that damage is going to be important, but we'll get into that shortly. Miracle Force as well, very powerful attack, just dealing 190, pretty much able to two-shot everything in the standard format. Now, the new attackers, not necessarily new as they've been out for quite some time, but the new strategy for Gardevoir is to utilize cards like Drifloon. Drifloon's Balloon Blast deals 30 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, and Screamtail deals 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So our goal is to use our Psychic Embrace to damage these attackers to then be able to deal more damage. The only negative side effect of these cards is that their attacks are really strong. They just don't have a whole lot of HP, so they're maxing out at pretty low numbers. But we can fix that with cards like Bravery Charm, increasing the HP, the brand new Hero's Cape A-Spec card, and also Luxurious Cape, making it so that we can take huge knockouts with Drifloon and also Screamtail. We're going to be relying on the Arven engine with the Technical Machine evolution, because we did also lose Mirage Step. That is another important card that we lost in rotation, so we're going to need a way to get out multiple Kirlias, and the best way to do that is with the Technical Machine evolution to get out multiple Kirlias on that first turn of the game. You have support cards like Radiant Greninja and UVX, which help draw you cards, and UVX is a really powerful attacker versus those Giratina decks. Both Bosso and Giratina and also Arc Giratina are quite popular decks in the post-rotation format, so having access to that genome hacking is very nice to copy loss impact. But with that being said, list is pretty cool, deck is awesome, and let's hop into some games and show off just exactly how powerful the deck is. And with that being said, if you enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. All right, let's hop into it. Alrighty everyone, so hopping into it, looks like we're going to be going up against Lugia VSTAR. Lugia, one of the most powerful decks in the standard format. They will be going first. I had the option to choose first or second. I did opt to go second. It's, I think, pretty important to mention that, because this deck is one of the decks in the format that just always wants to go second. You know, always wants to be able to get that turn one Arven off to be able to get the Technical Machine evolution to really make sure that you have that explosive start. So in a situation like this, going second is very important, and our hand looks pretty solid. They got a couple of mulligans, which is nice, which is why our hand is significantly bigger than normal, and it's looking like we're going to have a pretty explosive start here. So they do get themselves a pretty decent start. I mean, they got themselves the Lugian for next turn, Archeops in the discard pile as well. Now, versus the Lugia VSTAR matchup, one of our most powerful attackers is going to be Screamtail. Screamtail is a very good attacker, allowing you to snipe down those Archeopses, and then you're pretty much just able to run them after that once their Archeopses fall. So that's going to be kind of our goal in this game. But first off, we need to get some Pokemon evolved here. We have the Buddy-Buddy Poffin here, going to allow us to get a couple Ralts. It does look like we have the Screamtail in the deck here. So we also got Technical Machines evolution as well. Pretty solid. We got ourselves Arven for that, so things are looking pretty decent. So we're going to grab Ralts and the memory skip one. We're going to use Arven here. Arven's going to allow us in this situation to get ourselves the Technical Machine evolution. We just want to put that in our hand. And then we're also going to put get ourselves another Buddy-Buddy Poffin to get ourselves the fourth Ralts. I think that's totally fine, just to get ourselves that going. We could get Earthen Vessel as well, but I think this is totally okay. So all right, we got Technical Machine evolution, Buddy-Buddy Poffin. He's out of the deck here. We'll get ourselves the fourth Ralts on the field, and yeah, things are looking pretty good. So fourth Ralts hitting the board. Also get ourselves the Radiant Greninja already put down on the field, which is nice. Get ourselves that. Wish we had another energy in hand so we could Greninja this, but that's okay. we can attach onto the Drifloon, use the Technical Machine Evolution, and then evolve into double Kirlia on the first turn of the game. Pretty crazy start here, allowing us to go and evolve into 2 of them, which is pretty nice. We did prize a couple Kirlias, however, we still want multiple of these Ralts down on the field just to give access to Rare Candy, and also later on, I still just want them. So that is the reason as to why we filled up the bench with multiple Ralts, regardless whether or not we prized a couple Kirlia or not. So anyways, action is back onto them here. We know there's a Lumineon in the hand, which probably means something like Jirachi or Professor's Research is going to be happening this next turn. We do see the regenerative energy along with Lumineon. The big question is if they use the Jirachi, do they have the Ultra Ball in hand? Because if they have the Ultra Ball, then they got a nice and easy turn 2 Summoning Star. However, if they don't, things can get a little bit tricky here, and they will potentially just need to research and hope to find the pieces. If a second Archeops is not in the hand, it definitely could reasonably miss it. So we'll see. Here is the Luminous Sign being used, looking through their deck for a supporter card. Probably going to be Jirachi or Research or Serena. One of those 3 cards will most likely be selected here. There is the Jirachi. This is a sign that they're going to be going for that Lugia VSTAR here. Now the big question, as I said, is there actually an Ultra Ball in this hand? Because if there's not, then they're just going to be summoning starring for 1 Archeops. I assume that they got the second Archeops there because they have it. Ooh, looks like they don't. Okay, so looks like they're going to go for the Read the Wind here. Interesting. So Lugia, oftentimes, if you force them to go first, is not able to actually get the turn 2 Archeops and Lugia VSTAR off, oftentimes meaning that they have to use something like Read the Wind. So that's actually pretty big for us. Now we have a little bit of time to kind of either just take this turn off entirely and build our board state, or even go for the knockout depending on what we draw here. So that flexibility is really, really big. I'm just going to dump these 2, looking for energy to get rid of. It looks like I did miss here. I think I'm just going to use the Iono. I'm pretty much just going to take this turn off. I don't really need to try and KO this. I need multiple energy in the discard pile anyways. We're not there even. So we're just going to kind of take this turn off, use the concealed cards. Now, if I refinement it into like energies and Ultra Balls, then I would have been able to easily get this KO. However, that's not something that happened, and that's totally okay. So we have the energy here. That seems fine. I can gust for 10 if I really wanted to in the situation. I don't necessarily think that's horrible, but I don't really think it's necessary in this spot. I'd rather hold this for something like that Radiant. Greninja on the next turn. Unfortunately, as I said, I did prize double Kirlia as well, so we're just going to pass it off to them. I don't think there's anything else I particularly need to do. I could just retreat into the Ralts here and save the Drifloon. I think that's probably what I want to do here, is just retreat into the Ralts and save the Drifloon for now. So I'm going to retreat into the Ralts with Teleportation Burst, and we're going to pass it off to them. So anyways, things are looking pretty decent for us here in this situation. There is the Minccino coming down. There is the evolution of the Cinccino. And there is Great Ball looking for that Lugia VSTAR. Do they find it? That is the big question, if they do or not. There's another Archeops here, so potentially did miss. We'll see, though, if they get it or if they just have to Read the Wind again. Got to assume that they have an out to like some supporter maybe in hand. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see what they're able to do. Once again, Lugia doesn't feel always amazing going first. You know, not being able to use that turn 1 supporter kind of just sometimes makes their starts really awkward. And as we could see, yeah, their start was very, very awkward going first in the situation. So, you know, with Lugia, has been a deck I have been playing some games with, and I have kind of liked going second a little bit more with the deck. That's like one thing that I've kind of noticed, is the deck is getting turn 2 Summoning Star a little bit more frequently going second. And since most decks aren't really attacking on that first turn of the game, aside from things like Iron Hands and like Roaring Moon, if you play against that still, going second feels actually pretty okay. So anyways, here is the Summoning Star getting themselves a double Archeops out onto the field. We're probably just going to see that Primal Turbo and then the knockout. The question is what is that last card? So going to be interesting here. We'll probably see the Gift Energy tossed onto the Lugia VSTAR in this situation. Or just a double turbo, which means we could actually just KO it here in this spot and feel relatively okay about them not having a whole lot. But they could also put the Gift Energy on the bench Minccino and attack with that this turn. I'm not 100% sure exactly what their route is here. But for us, probably just going to utilize Screamtail, taking down an Archeops this turn. Also gets around Gift Energy as well, nice and easily. Yes, we could just KO the Lugia in the active, but we could also just snipe down Archeopses in this spot as well, which seems okay. Or even just KOing the Minccino doesn't seem terrible too. So we have options here. It really just kind of depends what this last card is. And it is Professor's Research. Okay, so all right, this is quite interesting for sure. I think I do kind of want to go around Gift Energies. That kind of seems quite good here. A little bit concerned that my Gardevoir would just get blown up by boss's orders, but I think we're okay in this spot. All right, let's promote the Drifloon, the balloon. We can start here with Ninja, drawing 2. I would like an Iono here this turn. That'd be quite nice. I could just pop out back Iono and Arven here. I actually don't hate that, to try and increase my chances of finding an Iono here. So actually, I think I'm going to do that. We're just going to Pal Pad both of these back. It's nice to have Arven still in the deck. We already have one in hand, but we really want to find ourselves an Iono and then to kind of work around that gift energy with Screamtail. There is the Iono. Called for it, and it did show up here, thankfully. So we do have 3 energy in the discard pile. Gonna need a couple more here in this spot. I do still want to get access out of Refinement in the situation. So we'll use the Refinement, getting rid of the Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Hopefully gonna find ourselves some energy. There is the Earthen Vessel, which is going to allow us to get rid of the Drifloon, get ourselves a couple of energies, put those into the hand. And I think Screamtail is going to be the attack we decide to use here. Probably taking out, the more I think about it, might just be better to snipe in the situation a Minccino, because we don't want our Gardevoir to get bossed here in the situation. Now, if I draw Turo, we could just evolve and then Turo. That actually would probably be our best decision here. If we could just go evolve, load up a Screamtail, and then Turo it off the field, that probably would be the easiest thing. I guess there also is an option to Arven here as well. Definitely an interesting situation. We'll use the Earthen Vessel, dumping energy, getting 2. I have access to Candy. Ooh, maybe we could just Arven this turn. That's another thing we could decide to do in this spot here. That kind of feels good just because we prize double Kirlia. I don't hate doing that. It's just using the Arven in the situation. So we'll go Arven. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's get access to that. We can get ourselves the Bravery Charm. Does get us over the hump if we needed to attack with that. I don't think we really actually want to KO this Lugia. I think we just want to work around it. The more I think about it, if we just KO this Minccino and then snipe another Minccino as well the next turn, we should be chilling. I don't think actually in this situation Archeops is amazing just because there are so many energy in the board. Now, if they didn't get these energies on the board and they just kind of held back, then I think that we could definitely go after Archeops. But in the situation here, we could just deal with either the Lugia in the active or the Minccino's on the bench. So we could also just blow up this too. So this is one of the interesting things, is that there are so many options that we have here. If we KO this, then they would potentially boss's orders go down to 3, and then we could counter catcher KO this, go down to 2. So there's actually that option too. And I guess we'd yeah, that's interesting here. Definitely some options for sure. I think we're just gonna snipe the Minccino though. I think we're just gonna get it off the field. Let's go Ultra Ball, discarding double energy. Going to get ourselves the Screamtail, and then we're going to bench the Screamtail here, use that Gardevoir Psychic Embrace, and we're just going to take out that one prizer. We can always just take this out at some point anyways, which is good. And we'll go putting 4, or actually we just need 3 energies here, allowing us to do 120 damage. So 1, 2, and 3 Roaring Scream going to allow us to do 120 damage onto that. And feeling pretty decent about the situation. Now, what I could actually do here is just load up the Drifloon. The more I think about it, the more I'm tempted to just load this up right now. Because if they KO Gardevoir EX, I don't want to have to evolve into Gardevoir EX that next turn to KO. And potentially I can Turo this next turn. I have just some options here. So yeah, we're actually just going to preload this thing up. I kind of like loading this Drifloon up. Typically, Lugia does not play Lost Vacuum as well, so I can more comfortably actually put multiple energies onto this just because I know that they're not going to be able to knock this thing out. So we're going to go Psychic Embrace again, attach here, and then Embrace once more, getting this up to 100. And then I can use that Roaring Scream, dealing 120 damage, taking out that Minccino here. Gonna go all the way over here. And if they spend a turn boss's ordering, if they don't have a Minccino in hand and just going KO Drifloon, that's fine. We can then just Screamtail Archeops or Screamtail this Minccino. So this deck still, as you can see, has just so many options. There's so many different things that you can do. So Really, really cool to kind of see all the lines kind of coming together on this turn. So many different cool things you can do, and really is still a versatile deck, despite losing some pretty important cards. So anyways, here is the Master Ball getting themselves a Sinchino here. We're going to see the evolution, and now the big question is there a boss's orders to pair up with that? They did bench the Minchino, which is a sign that they're not going to give themselves access to Lumineon this turn, and that just creates the big question of whether or not they actually have a gust effect in the spot. So definitely a big question here. I'm not sure exactly what they're cooking up, but yeah, we'll see. Looks like they're consulting their hand here. We do see the Great Ball gonna be able to. Oh, they play Mew EX. Okay, that's actually important. That's important information to have. It actually means we're gonna probably want to bench a Manaphy at some point, because they could bring up the Radiant Greninja and do some annoying things. They could use the Moonlight Shuriken with the General Hacking. So we do have to be a little bit careful here, actually. That's actually really big they showed us that, because I did not know that was in the deck. So now I do, and now we can just puff in for Manaphy. So the big question is did they just have boss in hand? I just do not know. I would assume that there's a decent chance they have boss here. Like, I would not be too surprised if they had boss in this spot. So there's the Jet Energy, the Jet coming in here, going into the Sinchino. If they bosses orders, they do go down to 3, and then we can go down to 3. Then they go down to 2, and we go down to 2, and then we can go down to 1. I think it's still looking fine. I think actually we'll be okay here. There's a Gift Energy on here. Just putting that on just to make sure. And no, actually, they didn't have boss's orders. And they also got rid of Mew EX. Okay, cool. So that's really, really big. Now we're in a really good spot. The fact that they did not have that, we're definitely very favored now to win this game. Especially if we can Turo this Gardevoir EX this turn, we should just win. We should be in a insane spot if we can do that. So we'll see. And there is the attack of the Sinchino doing 210 damage. I mean, even if they KO'd this, the reason why we powered this Pokemon up was so that we would not have to find Turo, and we just have the KO regardless, because Balloon Blast is dealing 300 damage right now. Very, very powerful attacker. Much more powerful than I initially thought it was. And then I read the card and I was like, oh, this thing actually does way more damage than I initially thought it did. So anyways, they're down Mew EX here, which means that we can use the Super Rod. Let's just put back the Ralts, Drifloon, and Screamtail, just having those all back. But it most importantly means that we don't actually need to have Manaphy on the board here. So we can use Buddy-Buddy Poffin. Let's get ourselves out another Ralts, hopefully taking a couple of Kirlias off the prize cards. We're going to grab that, plop this down. We can use Counter Catcher here to bring up the Lugia. Seems fine. And then we're going to be able to use that Iono to put them down to a low hand size. Things are looking quite good. If they KO the Gardevoir, not a big deal. Not really too worried about that. Got a couple options here. We probably don't need the Iono in this situation. You probably want to keep everything else. So we'll go draw 2. There's Drifloon. There's another Iono. Kind of a bunch of good cards here. We kind of won all of them. We could dump Ultra Ball here. However, we are down. I guess we're down 1. We could dump an Ultra Ball. I guess that's okay. Yeah, let's dump Ultra Ball. Draw 2. There's double Arven. Okay, we should find Turo this next. So there's, we can Balloon Blast. That seems fine. Don't really need to pre-attach anything anywhere. We can just go Balloon Blast. If they go Boss's Orders, KO the Gardevoir, I can just go Counter Catcher, KO the Lumineon with no 2 prizers on the field, and we just checkmate them that way. And it's going to be tough for them to collapse Stadium this away as well. There's still no Kirlia. All the Kirlias are hiding. And there'll be no way in this situation for them to actually easily remove this unless they just naturally draw it here, because Gift Energy is not activating. So definitely looking good for sure. Let's see what they promote. We do see the Minchino being tossed up into the active spot here. Yeah, kind of the $1 million question is there a collapsed stadium? Going to be very hard to do that without Gift Energy. And they're going to need collapsed Pokemon and Boss's Orders to actually really make this a little bit scary. But if they don't have that, it should be pretty easy. Just a simple Counter Catcher. At some point, we'll win the game, most likely, or eventually just finding Boss's Orders, which we do know is in the deck. So things are looking good here. All Turbo. Fail on that. Okay, there's Iono. So this actually ends up being nice because this pretty much guarantees us Turo or boss's orders, because I'm going to assume that Turo we're very close to drawing into. I would hope, because we have not seen it yet. So there's a Roma here. The only scary thing about this in this situation is that we don't actually have a out to Drifloon or Screamtail yet, which we just need one of those cards in the situation. So that is a little bit concerning. We might just have to Iono at some point and just hope to find it and not be able to Turo that EX. So that's, I guess, like the only problem here. All right, there is the Evolution Edition. You know, I guess also I could just go for Screamtail KO in the situation too. So I have options for sure. We could just go Screamtail KO also. There's really a lot of things we can do here too. We don't actually have to Turo the more I think about it. Because we go down to 1, it should not matter. So anyways, we'll promote the Ralts here. Going to be able to Refinement away Jirachi and Manaphy. Don't need those cards. There is Arven as well. That's quite nice. We'll start with a Refinement here, just getting rid of this extra fluff out of the deck that we don't need in this matchup. There is Turo. The more I think about it, though, if we just Screamtail, I don't actually think there's anything that they can do in this spot, or even just boss's orders. So we can use the Nest Ball here to get ourselves Screamtail. We also have Luxurious and Hero's Cape in deck. We have a 7 energy in the discard pile. We'll go bench Screamtail. We'll go Psychic Embrace, embracing 1 energy onto the Ralts here. And I do just have access to Arven, so this seems pretty good here just to take out the Luminion. I don't think we can lose if that happens. And if they boss's orders the Gardevoir, they just lose as well, because then we can just punch again with whatever we need. So I guess we'll just grab the Ultra Ball here. I think that seems fine. We'll retreat into Screamtail. We'll use Embrace, and then we can just load up the Screamtail here. 1. You know, I'm actually going to make sure I attach this cape first, because sometimes this will over damage itself. Sometimes a glitch that happens where it'll put an extra 20 damage on it and it'll actually knock itself out. I've experienced that. For anyone that has played Gardevoir, maybe you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, loading up here the Screamtail. We're doing 160. Okay, now we're doing plenty of damage to KO here. I guess we'll just attach another one here. It seems okay. Now we're one-shotting pretty much everything. We're KOing Lugia if we have to. Yep. And there is the concession. Set up the checkmate there, and we're able to win that. Wow, that game actually went pretty long. You know, Gardevoir still takes sometimes quite a long time to play. But anyways, I guess that's going to do it. We got a really good game in, so I think we're going to end it off there. We really showed off the deck and how it's supposed to work. And yeah, that's how you play versus Lugia. Now, with that being said, the deck list will be in the description. And once again, if you enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It's the best way to support me as a creator. And if you're going to EOIC as well, best of luck in that tournament. Gardevoir makes a pretty decent play. I think the deck has a lot of potential moving forward. And for anyone going to tournaments, definitely try it out. But yeah, anyways, thanks so much for all the support as always. If you're looking for any Pokemon TCG product, make sure to go check out GameGridSLC.com. You can use my code in the description, SmartTCG, for 5% off on your next order. Anyways, thanks so much as always. This is Smart TCG, and I'll speak with you again soon. Peace out.